Concetta, gender expert, GLT France Association, that is our association in France. She is part of our committee working in France and Belgium as well for the Francophone countries, also for a project that we share with 𝐏𝐫𝐾 Foundation, 2 grants this year with 2 girls that move from Belgium towards Ghana in order to improve financial education projects in there for both foundations. And so Concetta is also a humanitarian diplomacy advisor at the British Red Cross after a long experience starting from United Nations when she was very young towards the British Red Cross. So I leave to you for the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Claudia. Can you? Yes. Thank you, Claudia, for this introduction, and I will cover a little bit of experience of our committee in France. So to start with, it's a great pleasure to be here today representing Global Thinking Foundation France. Our association, linked with our headquarters in Milan, aligns with its vision project on financial education and economic abuse prevention for women and girls, while considering the specific social, economic, legislative context of France. Over the past 5 years, the Global Thinking Foundation has strived to expand its network in France by organizing events to inform the French public, the authorities, as well as other institutions about our work and ambition. Thanks to a dedicated group of experts, we have signed a partnership agreement with the French associations, such as La Fondation des Femmes, which is at the forefront of fighting against discrimination and abuse against women and girls. We have also established a strong dialogue and trust with the French MPs, particularly with Madame Rexan. In 2020, on November 25th, which is a really important date for us, Global Thinking Foundation participated in the French National Assembly Delegation for Women's Rights and Equal Opportunity meeting, where economic violence was at the center of the discussion. We had the opportunity to present our document on economic violence, its impact and consequences, and how we prevent it through 10 best practices. Our work has inspired the current French law on economic equality, which aims to protect women from economic abuse, discrimination, and violence. Following this event, our cooperation with the French government has continued and strengthened. We recently organized another event at the French National Assembly on December 10th, 2024, with the presence, among other government representatives, of the French Minister of Finance and Industry. This event served as a platform bringing together various stakeholders from the economic sector, civil society, and the media, and aiming at monitoring the advancement of economic and professional equality between women and men. We are continuing in this endeavor and have other projects to discuss with the French institutions. To continue our engagement at the European level, we established a partnership, as Claudia mentioned already, in 2023 with the 𝐏𝐫𝐾 Foundation, a Belgium-based organization. We have a representative here today. This collaboration aims to financially technically support internship for young African students, focusing on projects related to financial education, literacy, and women's empowerment. Furthermore, in line with our ambition to foster international partnership, we are establishing a new collaboration with the Congo Brazzaville institutions. This partnership will implement a project focusing on financial education and women's empowerment. To conclude, I wanted to stress how honored we are to be here today and look forward to engaging in further conversation with each of you. I hope today will be a fruitful opportunity to build a new partnership and enhance the existing ones. Thank you.
So, as you have heard, the cooperation with the French government, and also let me also mention the Belgian government, the Institut pour l'égalité de la Belgique, and the Secretariat of State, the cabinet of the Secretary of State that is in charge for financial education. And Belgium is the first European country that issued a law against feminicide. And from this law, we have seen some other countries following, from Croatia to Malta to now Portugal, Spain, and finally Italy. I would like to ask you if you could share specific strategies. I will give, okay. You can try to use this one, micro, perfect. Just to speak about strategies or tools that have proven effective in engaging women and girls, not only in the design, but also in the governance of their city, that's more and more becomes so crucial for the social inclusion, not only, but also security of people.
So our experience is a bit broader than financial inclusion. So we work really on creating cities that are more inclusive towards women, and we are working across many countries in the world. What we have seen is that cities are in fact built by men and for men, and we can see this when we look at public space where women don't feel in fact safe, when we look at access to land, housing, when we look at the mobility plans. So the whole point is really change the perspective on cities, understanding how women live and experience the city, and how we can plan in a different way. That is not exclusive, but in fact is inclusive, because if we plan cities that are more inclusive to women, we plan cities that are better for everyone. Now everyone wants to live in a city that is green, walkable, safe, and where housing is affordable. How we do it? We developed certain tools to engage, in fact, women from the assessment, the analysis of a context, through the design of a specific project, to the implementation of a project, and then also the management of the specific space or specific service. An example, concrete example, is in Nepal. We are implementing now a program called Cities for Women. We are working in 7 cities in Nepal and with the Ministry of Urban Development. And in fact, we look at the nexus between climate vulnerability, gender, and public spaces. And we supported municipalities in integrating gender in their planning process. How to get women around the table to decide what is better also for them to prioritize projects. Then we co-design also public space involving women, understanding issues related to accessibility, comfort, preferred, in fact, activities. And now we are implementing, asking also the municipality to co-finance the project, because it's very important also to build ownership. And I think also another important aspect is that we build also the capacity of the municipalities in doing that. So we do not do training for municipalities, but we really work with them so they can also see what is the advantage for them in including women in the process. Because in fact, we have seen that this public space, we started this year with the first 2 cities, they're quite successful for everyone, also for the families. We are doing similar program in other places, also in Tunisia. We have a program called Femme Medina, really in the historical cities. And in terms of financial literacy, we are trying to include also microcredit facilities and also financial education programs alongside also these urban programs. This is in a case, an example is in Jordan, where we are working more on heritage restoration involving women that are usually involved in heritage preservation, intangible and tangible, but they are not working, in fact, in the sector, in the formal sector. So we are trying also to support through program of business incubator and financial education programs, the scaling up of certain initiatives led by women.
Martina Rogato is also founder of ESG Boutique and lecturer at the University for Sustainability and Diversity. The integration of financial literacy into corporate sustainability practice practices, and also for the certification, German certification that is very specific for Italy, and now thanks to the including in the G7 community, also for the other countries to look into. How do we see this enhancement for social inclusion for women and youth, and the perception of companies of the importance of that?
Thank you so much, Claudia. Good morning to everyone. Buongiorno also for people connected in Italy there. Thanks for this invitation. Firstly, happy to co-promote as W7 and happy to participate as Human Rights International Corner. Well, despite our times we are living in, not just in the US, but also in Europe, considering that after years of supporting through normatives and directives, sustainability and a recent, let's say, announcement of simplifying with the omnibus package, a few directives on reporting, on
the brackets.
Yeah, simplifying the bracket. The promise was to simplify to support companies in being more sustainable with not too many bureaucracy, but the reality, and this is a civil society point of view, is that the promise was simplification. The concrete proposal is more on the regulation, and the regulation focused on do not guarantee social and environmental justice for people. So, well, despite these proposals also from the European Union, yes, we still continue to push and support sustainability practices, including in private sector for social and environmental justice first, and then also because yes, international studies says that sustainability is profitable, and also that there are lots of opportunity of empowering people inside, outside companies through social sustainability and empowering women. And so diversity is an important leverage, is an important part of social sustainability strategies, because we are talking about the impact of companies on people, including women, in all of their diversity. So what study says is that it's very important to continue focusing on diversity, also considering financial literacy and financial empowerment programs. For example, in the OECD, I'm just take some notes, shows that financial education leads to better financial decision makings and long-term economic security. So companies delivering commitments and policies on sustainability could empower the internal resources through digital and financial powers. So a good sustainability strategies could include financial literacy programs for internal resources of company, no matter which kind of sectors. Plus, if we remind the corporate responsibility projects, companies, especially those one from banking, fintech, or other related sector, could support local community project, also considering financial educational projects for local communities and for youth and women. And today we have lots of technique to measure the value in qualitative terms, but also in financial terms of social project. For example, with social return on investment. So company can measure the benefits in terms of value created inside the community, but at the same time, the financial impact of what they do. Let me also stress on the fact that despite omnibus packages, we will continue supporting sustainability for a social justice model. And let's say that according to international studies, we will have by 2050 15 million of new jobs in green and blue economy. and is a good opportunity for women and youth if we consider recent data on unemployment. So, and finance is an important ally of sustainabilities. If we consider lots of jobs related to sustainable finance, if we consider that, for example, for reporting on sustainability, we need to have some financial skills in order to match environment and social issues and topics with financial KPIs. So lots of opportunities. If we empower women, we give them also the opportunity for finding a new job in sustainable finance and also on new sustainability opportunities. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Talking with Monica, over 18 experience here on managing international projects, and also in this case, the social return measurement is very at the bulk of the main difference and new paradigms on the international project. And from your point of observation, how it's changed the promotion of the financial literacy among women and for youth in the developing regions where we are acting as a World Foundation?
Thank you, Claudia. Thank you, everybody. I'm really honored to be here today to brainstorm with you and with all. I see that we are surrounded by women, but I'm glad to see also men here. And boys. That's very important to create bridges. I feel at home. I must say that I feel at home today, not only because I'm surrounded by colleagues and friends, but also because when I started my career more than 28 years ago, I started at the United Nations International Training Center of Yalo. And the department in which I worked was the African Pavilion, where I had to deal with training programs for women entrepreneurs. So in some way, my professional career was sketched at that time. And I developed my career in cooperation for development. And I worked in several countries. I have been working in several countries, and I reflected before coming here, and I tried to streamline the barriers to financial and digital education that I encountered during my professional life. And by streamlining them, I'd like to share with you some main categories that I could detect. These are limited access to financial services. Of course, we know that many women and young people in rural areas have difficulties in accessing banking, credit, digital financial tools of any kind. Just to give you some figures, in sub-Saharan Africa, we have 37% of women having a bank account versus 48% of men. This is already an indicator. Then we should not forget that each country has its own culture and traditions, and cultural and social barriers may be a hurdle to get access to financial tools. For instance, there are some countries where norms discourage women from taking an active role in financial decision making. And it's a matter of fact that also in South Asia, there are studies that have shown that despite women have bank accounts, they often lack autonomy in using them. Then we should take into account that to have, as my colleagues have previously said, that to make a program sustainable, you have to build on solid grounds. If you have countries where we have low-level basic education, or where literacy rates fall below 40%, how can you think about a financial education program having an impact? They struggle with being effective. We have a lack of tailored educational resource. Just think about a training program that doesn't take into account the peculiarities or the specificity of women and youth. Then the risk of being impactless is very high. And the last category that I identified is the digital divide. Of course, we are running after this impressive speed with which progress in digital evolves. But this might create also new barriers, because it's true that we might progress in having mobile phones, smartphones, or whatever to access internet, but we have examples like in rural India. India is a country that each of us can match very easily with the IT development. But women, only 30% of women have a mobile phone with internet access. So I explicitly tried to create categories of barriers, but now I'd like to show you that countries, governments around the world have already taken actions for removing these barriers. And I will be mentioning some examples in Africa, in Asia, and in South America. For instance, do you know that Kenya has been one of the first in 2007 to expand a mobile banking service like M-Pesa? And this was for millions of women and youth, a real entering into the mobile banking world with all the impact and consequences that this might have. And in Rwanda, we have a national financial education strategy. This means that they have included in literacy programs and community training programs the topics of the importance of digital education and financial education. They have decided to expose women and youth to these topics. In Bangladesh, we have a great project for Women's Banking Initiative, where the government itself has promoted financial inclusion through state-support microfinance programs. Brazil has a digital financial education platform that has allowed marginalized communities in rural areas to get also access to online banking. And then, just to close it and make a final remark, what I found as a red thin line in all these programs is the following, which is the formula to go towards an inclusive financial literacy. It's the tripartite cooperation between governments, between public sector. We talk a lot about blended aid now. This is the PPP, the public-private partnerships, because the private sector brings innovation into the equation. And then you have the engagement of communities. If you have these three ingredients, you can develop a financial and digital education. And these three ingredients, remember, are important to be customized to the local sectors in which they are developed. Customization. We should not forget that financial literacy and digital literacy are common words, but they have to be customized to the context in which the programs are developed if we want to ensure sustainability and replicability in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much again for inviting me and for everything you are doing. The speakers have been great. I loved each one of you, all your remarks really. And like you said, I was nicely surprised to see so many men, because generally our events, like I'm from Istanbul, and we have a saying, like if I translate it would be the deaf and the blind, they host each other. Like normally all the women events, like all those women, we listen to each other, we understand each other, and we share ideas, we agree, and then we leave the room. But I'm so happy to see so many men. So on financial literacy, I have my official closing remarks, but I have also a few words on a personal account. Financial literacy is a topic very, very close to my heart, because before UN, I was at the World Bank, and my first program was on financial literacy for women MSMEs, micro, small and medium enterprises in Africa. And this really shaped, I didn't choose it really, it wasn't, I cannot say that it was, it just happened that I was at this program, I was managing this program. But this program shaped everything I have done afterwards. Everything, every decision, I always wanted to put the financial literacy as a component of any project that I have been. And secondly, is a more on a personal account. After 15 years of living in US and 22 years of marriage, And I have 3 master's degrees, I can speak 4 languages, etc. But when I divorced in US, only then I realized I was so financially illiterate. I have done many, close to 20 African countries. I don't remember how many Latin America, how many South Africa. To go there to give financial literacy courses to women entrepreneurs, business plans, what does it mean banking tools and etc. But at my 48-year-old, I didn't know that I needed a banking record in US. I didn't know because everything was on my husband's name. I couldn't rent a house because I didn't have any record on my name. I couldn't have a credit card. I had nothing on my account. And many years passed now, but until today, I can say it is something that forced me in life, taking financial decisions, and even simply paying accounts. And today, with the technology, it became even more and more important because now everything is in our hands, meaning that the information is there, but we need to find the right information. And applying this to women entrepreneurs globally, which also, this is the topic that I gave my heart into. And all the women entrepreneurs also, they are really at a crossroad. Because now with the technology, they don't need to leave their houses to access the banking system. They don't need to go to a course or wait a training center to come to them. Everything is accessible. And so this is my personal account, and thank you very much. It was very nice to be here and listen to all your speakers. So, I focused on social inclusion and the financial inclusion, touching also on the digital inclusion. So, social inclusion is a fundamental human right because it ensures that everyone, regardless gender, age, or background, has equal opportunities to participate fully in society and in the economy. And economic empowerment, I think you mentioned that, is not possible without financial inclusion, and financial inclusion today is not possible without digital inclusion. When we talk about many women's empowerment topics and the challenges and the barriers, or simple violence, violence against women, how a woman can leave the abusive relationship if she doesn't have a financial independence. Simply that. So women and youth must be equipped with the tools, knowledge, and access they need to fully participate in the economy. And without financial literacy and digital access, millions are excluded from savings, investing, and building resilience against financial shocks, which is my case that I explained to you. It's not only about how to open a business, but it's simply how to make the day-to-day life, and I didn't know about that. And despite the progress, the gender gap in financial and digital inclusion remains a major change. I think, Martina, you also mentioned that. And today, as per World Bank's 2022 data, 742 million women worldwide remain unbanked, and women are 20% less likely than men. But I think this account is not enough to say, because there are other women like myself who has a bank account, who can reach the bank, but who doesn't know how to reach the bank. So this is also another problem. And the gender digital divide is also alarming. In low and middle income countries, 224 million fewer women than men have access to mobile internet. I'm just jumping the parts because I don't want to repeat the same things. There are so many repeating points that everybody talk about that. So the discussions today also have direct implication for achieving the SDGs. And we have to talk about the SDGs for many reasons. A, because we all know about that, and all the organizations, quite all the small and big organizations now, they are reporting SDGs. And B, we don't have much time left, only a few years, and C, we all know we will not be able to comply them. So gender equality, because I come from UN Women, but also the topic was about the women, so gender equality, SDG 5, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. Again, we have said this many times, that without financial independence, this is not possible to reach the work or to and SDG 9 and innovation infrastructure. I'm jumping all of those because we have discussed. So, gender responsive digital economy must address the key barriers, and according to this, governments and private sector actors must ensure that gender responsive digital financial policies that integrate strong protections against online fraud, cyber tyrants, and gender-based violence. And we more and more talk about the cyber gender-based violence beyond physical gender-based violence. Expand digital literacy programs, we discuss about that also. And more importantly, I think you discussed this, promote women's leadership, right? It was you. In tech and finance, to ensure that all the digital tools and services are designed with gender-sensitive approaches. And this is something super, super important. Even though the technology is there, even though the tools are there, when the decisions maker are not women, or women's decisions are not taken into consideration, this will not reach to the populations. And finally, improve the affordability and accessibility of mobile banking, e-commerce, and fintech services. I mean, if I had funds, like personally, to reach, the first thing I would do is to include the fintech courses in everything that I have to. Apologies, I really don't want to repeat the same things that we have said. It doesn't matter, it's okay. So finally, we must take 3 concrete actions moving forward and to collaborate. First one, ensure that financial and digital literacy programs reach all women, and they include women, especially in underserved and rural communities. Secondly, make digital financial services more accessible and affordable. And third, and really the most important one, is the partnership and collaboration between governments, financial institutions, and civil society like yourself. And again, it has been really a joy and an honor to be here.
Thank you, Marie-Louise, Head of Women's Entrepreneurship Alliance of United Nations Women. And as you mentioned, our efforts are only regarding with our Observatory of FinTech for Sustainability in our foundation on Femtech and longevity tech solution. And we are focused on that with a big event, the first event on Femtech in Italy on 19th of November. And we will focus from September with the first Financial Health Forum in Italy on the 30th of September. And this is great because it's a way to discuss and to move forward again with our stakeholders, our partners, and I would like to thank Human Rights International Corner and the Comité pour la Vigilance de la Démocratie en Tunisie, Women's 7 Canada for their patronage, and 𝐏𝐲 Foundation for their support, because this was a very great event to step up regarding how women deserve equal opportunities to succeed, and also the way that we want a world where all of the population can thrive finally, and to prioritize the investment in equality, sustaining equality fund, sustainability fund for women, social bond, green bond for new green and blue jobs opportunity for women, first of all, to make really the gender opportunity and gender equality a reality in actions, from our actions towards the other people, men and women all together in an intersectional purpose also. So thank you so much.